Daily Journal crime reporter Danza Johnson. I'm here with Lee County Sheriff Jim Johnson, and we're going to talk about internet safety. Sheriff, we've been talking about internet crimes and how these people commit the crimes, but let's talk today about what are the crimes.
Okay.
What are some of the popular internet crimes and how are they committed?
Well, in layman's terms, any time that you use any type of electronic device, such as a text message, cell phone, computer, or anything that's electronically used to entice a child for sexual purposes, then that is pretty much what the sting that we've been doing is, and that's when it becomes a crime. There are state statutes. There's a minimum statute of contributing to the delinquency of a minor, which is a misdemeanor, which carries less than 12 months in the county jail and a fine. Then there's a couple of more serious crimes, the child exploitation, where the enticement statute is, and that's where you actually use one of these devices to entice a child for sexual purposes. That is a felony which can carry up to 35 years in the state penitentiary, as well as you can also be charged in the federal system, and it carries a minimum of 10 years. Then there's one for the enticement to produce visual dictation of sexual content, and that is where you have asked a child to send sexual content, pictures, and that can also be a federal charge as well. So there's several different ways that you can get in trouble doing this.
So is just typing a sexual message to a child, is that enough to get you one of these charges?
Yes. There's a lot of misconception on the internet stings, especially the ones that Dateline did and the ones that we did here, where we went over and beyond and actually had an individual to come and meet us. But that is not when the crime is committed. The crime is actually committed when that individual sends one of these messages over the internet or text message. The crime's committed then. The meeting has absolutely nothing to do with the crime. The meeting, what it does, it allows us to put a face with the individual we're talking to. But you're just in just as much trouble or as much trouble as you're going to get on just by simply sending one of those messages or sending one of these photographs or the webcam. That's one of the big things now is actual moving pictures.
So exposing yourself is a definite felony.
Absolutely, absolutely it is.
Is that just to a minor, or if someone exposes themselves to of age adult, is that still?
It can fall under a pornography type thing. Of course, there is no law that protects you if you send it to a child. That's completely illegal. If it's two consenting adults, there is some legality of it. But it can be illegal even to do that.
What about child pornography? Does some of these guys reach, if they're already interested in these underage children, once you confiscate computers and things, can some of those charges result into child pornography if they have some of these type photos on their hard drives of their computers?
And that was one of the interesting things that we got into when we first started our internet sting, and Mississippi State University and the U.S. Department of Justice came on board with us, and we now have our own laboratory here where we can analyze computers. And that is one thing that we always do is get a search warrant immediately and take possession of that computer whenever we make an arrest. And the reason for that is to find out, is there any type of prior instance where they are downloading child pornography. And we have found it. Probably on 30% of our cases we have found child pornography that has been downloaded on that computer. And we can find it, even if it's been deleted, we'll find out the sites that they've been visiting or whether they downloaded it or whether they're actually taking them themselves. So, it's a high probability that even once they get caught, that this is not the first type crime that they have, been involved in, not just on the internet, but as you say, child pornography is a big way with this because they're targeting children.
So the likelihood of catching a person and that was his first instance ever doing that is very low.
It's very, very, very low.
But what about convict rates? I mean, it seems like the evidence is there. I mean, they're providing their own nails for their coffin, so to speak, with all the, you don't have to go searching for evidence. I mean, the evidence is provided by the suspect. Is that one of the unique things about these type cases?
It's probably one of the easiest cases to work, because I know working as a criminal investigator, a lot of times you had the crime committed and you had to go and search for the evidence. But this one, it's almost like, we compare it to an individual that robs a bank, and then, when he comes to the bank, he's got his confession, he's got the money, he's got everything, he just brings it to you. The crime, whenever we start investigating these things, once the crime is committed, you got everything you need because they've sent it to you over the internet. And you know, it is a pretty prevalent case to prove in court, and pretty easy. We've got a 100% indictment and a 100% conviction rate. We have not lost our first case out of the 16 cases, and we've probably had 60 to 70% of those cases that have already went. Sitting here, I can't think of even one of the cases that has even went to trial. And we've had some very good cases, some very good attorneys that do very well as defendant. Defending people. But I'm pretty certain sitting here today to tell you that our 16 cases that we've got, we've been able to work out some type of plea agreement. And it speaks well of the case and how well it was worked, and how serious it is whenever you commit this crime, the dangers that follows it.
Well, we'd like to thank Sheriff Johnson for his time, and thank you for viewing. For more information on internet safety, check into djournal.com on Tuesdays.